Mic. Can you give a mic there? Just hang on so that everybody can hear you, you know.
Hi, Jugnu Jain from Saram Sciences. I walked in late, so I don't know if the panelists actually talked about what is the quantum of money and what is the seed stage, in the early stage, not growth companies, not later on. How many of these funds, when they're saying that capital is chasing good ideas, how many are there for biology-based, high-risk, well more than 24 months type of companies?
Sure.
I'd
So
be curious. I'd just like to know whether it's a single-digit crore or even double-digit crore that's
yeah. So
available.
I think Dr. Mukherjee will be in a better.
The budget is not any limit. We always advise our applicant not to under budget the project, not to over budget it. So whatever you need, you should ask for that, and that's funded. You tell me a project, I will tell you. If you have, say, an essay development program.
You could have one-to-one meeting with him, yeah, after this session. Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you. Any other questions?
And what you need to have is a strong idea which is backed by intellectual property. That is pretty important for us. Intellectual property is the bedrock for any venture, any financing. And then you got to basically show us how you're going to do the project value creation. One of the questions that Vishal had asked in terms of where, at what time, what stage you're going to create some value. And based on that, there could be tiered financing coming your way.
Nadatu Life Sciences. We provide seed capital and early stage, we are an investor. Across the life science value chain, right from drug discovery to healthcare delivery, we have invested.
Could you just tell the name of the company that you invested so that people are easy to relate, because we don't have luxury of time?
Drug discovery, people will be knowing Connexios Life Sciences. In medical communication, Indigene Life Systems. In drug discovery services called Abexome Biosciences, Biological Services. And recently we have invested in a boutique surgical hospital called Shanti Hospital and Research Center. And we also have investments in point of care diagnostics called Achira Labs. Okay.
And I have to remind you about your MetaHelix.
Okay. MetaHelix is one of the companies with the first investor in 2001. In fact, our investor, Mr. Nadatu S. Raghavan, when he came out of there, took voluntary retirement, co-founder of Infosys, started the Nadatu company. The first investment made was in MetaHelix.
Thank you. Thank you.
So also we have come investments in a diagnosis space like Exciton.
Sure. Thank you.
I head Life Science Incubator at ICICI Knowledge Park. My question is to Anand. You told that from the perspective of investment, that India should have more accelerators rather than incubators. I thought they're interchangeable words, but can you explain what their difference is? And
I think that's a great question about 2 volumes of research done on difference between an incubator and an accelerator. And if you look at the accelerator model, which was initiated in the Bay Area, so we replicated that. And in an accelerator model, is more knowledge-intensive domain experts who basically come and guide companies, mentor companies, and based on which the investment goes in. Because the single biggest reason that all the panel members have highlighted is management team and domain expertise. So what is happening right now in life science companies is that because the attrition rates are very high, especially if you're talking about a biotech project, how do you basically overcome stage 1, go into stage 2, overcome stage 2, go into stage 3? So either you must have the expertise or you must get mentors. So mentor-based financing is what is basically the genesis of accelerator model, which has actually originated out in the US in 1973. And accelerators are profit-making, whereas incubators are loss-making.
okay.
I hope that
1992-93. And we don't have a demonstrable record to project that 20 years we have delivered. That's one aspect of reality. But everybody keeps on talking that real value generation comes from the discovery side. And that's where country has to go into. But unfortunately, all large pharma companies, Indian large pharma companies, almost got out of it or downsized their investments. Do you see that investors community, I'm not talking about Wellcome Trust, I'm not talking about A-Star, but Indian investors companies are still open to these ideas of this risky business, or still we have this typical mindset of 24 months exit strategy?
I like to answer this. I don't think we have to wait for one molecule which is discovered, developed, and commercialized globally. So if we create that history, you know, in India, I think then you will see people will tend to believe on your projects. People will put in a lot of money on the drug discovery, because I have also happened to do, you know, work at Ranbaxy, and I have seen, you know, of course, drug discovery in India is a little different from what you see in the Western world. So unless we don't have those successful examples, you know, I'm actually talking from investment perspective, either debt or from the equity perspective. I don't think people will be ready to come in and support these high risk, high venture stuff. I think we need to create the success stories first. So, and I don't think we have the right ingredients. I possibly look at pipeline, even if pipeline doesn't justify, because most of the pipeline, whatever came to the phase 1 or phase 2 molecule got out licensed to big fours, you know, big fives. So where do you get that ecosystem, you know? And licensing is just one option, you know, but we need many more options. So I would actually request Sunny to reflect on this.
Assets which are not on the top line or the bottom line. But I would just caveat that by saying that our standards that we will hold a company to are the same that we would use even in the US or anywhere else. So there is no kind of lower bar because it's an Indian company and hence it's okay to fund it. An exception being, which is kind of, you know, an interesting strategy for a lot of companies that we are talking to on the R&D side, is thinking about emerging markets as the eventual geography to target versus going for, you know, sort of the holy US FDA approval. So many companies we are talking to now are thinking about alternate paths that are less capital intensive in terms of, you know, say clinical trials or the overall bar that's there for a product to get approved. And that's fine. I mean, in that case, our bar also would be at par with what the regulatory authorities would demand in various geographies. But you know, even then, I can tell you that the quality of proposals that we see often, we haven't gotten to a situation where it was so compelling and so interesting that we need to pull the trigger. But we're open to doing that if there is a company out there that has an asset like that.
I'm sure Sai can add value to
that. Developing world and emerging markets are going to be our forte, probably sometime during 2000 or 2001. That was almost a decade ago. We decided that you know, US and Europe entry would not be with biogeneric molecules. If we do enter, it'll be with novel biologics. So what are we doing about it? We started around the same time developing a rotavirus vaccine, and sometime around 2001. We have invested so far about $50 million, almost about 250 crores, into that rotavirus vaccine project from various sources, partly from the company, external funding agencies, Indian government, governments in Europe, Bill and Melinda Gates. It's going through phase 3 clinical trials right now. So Vishal, when we meet 2 years from now, that'll be the first big global molecule from India.
Wonderful.
When it's successful, okay? So so two more years.
But that's biology.
That's biology.
I was referring to small molecules.
It doesn't matter whether it's small molecule or biology. I think what we as Indians have to realize.
Biologics is the future anyway.
No, yeah, but what we have to realize is, as a company and as a you know, as a group, it's not about a biotech or a small molecule. We're not talking about it like that. We need to have expertise in product development. So the products that we innovate and develop in our country should be sold in more than 100 countries. So that's a feather on anybody's cap. It doesn't matter whether it's a pen or a paper. I'm a strong believer in that.
Sure. When you say product development, do you mean clinical trial development?
No, I'm just generalizing in terms of, you know, let's develop a, you know, very good car. You know, if Nano is sold in, you know, 100 countries, you know, I'll be one of the proudest guys.
But in India, it hasn't done well.
It's not done well, but it's very early in its life cycle for you to write it off. I mean, it's got a lot of time to go. I mean, I think
Mr. Tata has already discounted that.
Maybe. But I'm talking in general about product development. It's not about large molecules, small molecules, vaccines. I mean, we can develop anything that's sold in more than 100 countries. I think we've achieved something. So,
wonderful. Thank you.
part. And then development, when you talk about the global, I don't think company has the bandwidth for that.
I mentioned the partnering is important, and it's but at the end of the time, you know, and it doesn't matter, you know, whether you're bringing in partner or not, but at the end of the day, this has to be developed in India, you know, from that perspective, because anyway, the whole clinical trial world is coming to India, so why not we develop our molecule in India itself, you know, because I feel, I was talking to Glenn other day, and he told me very clearly, you know, it's not that I was